Coming up tonight, we find out if you're still qualified. We disclose the qualifications you'll need in 2026. We get a full Ramo on the race wall. Gary apologises to all his former learners. And we find a rival to MCS.
Hello and welcome to eFIXX TV, your fortnightly live stream here on Facebook and on YouTube, and we guarantee this is going to be an absolute cracker. However, if you're not watching it live at the moment, please check out the timestamps and you'll be able to jump to the section you're actually super interested straight off the bat. Well, I think those live people are going to be super interested in every aspect of this because the title is the following: they decided your experience is no longer enough. Now, with that in mind, I'm live in Mastabs and I posed the question there on Instagram that, are you a qualified electrician? We've got a poll running.
We have got a poll running.
Just start your excuses early,
No,
man.
Excuses. No, I'm starting. So 60% of our viewership out there, thank you, say I am qualified.
Okay.
But it has caused me to question, whether I'm qualified or not.
Just give us a little nugget. So, like everyone, you'll have an excuse. What's your excuse?
Well, they lost my portfolio, Gaz. They lost my... I was the first cohort that went electronic, okay? So they had paper portfolios back in, 2330.
Yes.
Okay. And they had, paper portfolio up to that point. They went, do you know what? We're going to go electronic. And I was in fact, we were the first cohort. All I can remember about that platform...
Okay, moving swiftly on. We'll come back to that later on in the show. We've got the experts in the room. They'll be in the room very shortly in order to pick through. And we've put some scenarios out there and we're going to try and match these to what we think you as the audience might have as qualifications. But if yours is different, get it in. If we can pick it up in the comments, we will ask the experts whether you've got to do X, Y or Z or you're all right. Now, you might be thinking, we've got a replacement in here. Well, we have. We had to turf him out because I've spotted, recently that Gordon Routledge has made a video where he's plugged in a battery and he's fed it back into a ring final circuit. Something maybe that they do in somewhere like Germany, okay, when they've got balcony solar, but he's managed to do it in Great Britain. And I think he's running in the face of the skills that he should have developed along the way.
I would if you need to be qualified to do what Gordon's done.
Well, I think you do. And it would put him in a pickle. So we're not going to go down that route, are we, with those? Right, tonight we've actually got some sponsors that want to be involved in this amazing stream. So let's get those out before we get our guests out. So we've got the people at Sunsync. They're on there. They're inverters behind them. We absolutely love them. They're in our own houses. And we've installed no end of theirs, as well as doing case studies on larger infrastructure of solar. We've also got Lewden Leaderboard, the maker of overcurrent protection devices. I've got a little gem for you in a minute. They make bi-directional RCBOs, and also they make a bi-directional MCB. So if you're not using those at the moment, folks, make sure you use Lewden Leaderboard for all your bi-directional devices. And we've also got the wonderful people at XS Training, which we nearly chose for Rick's route. And later on in the show, when we're talking about it, we'll go back to why we made certain decisions with them. But they do a fantastic thing where they can actually do your evidence for what people will call the MVQ, but it's only an MVQ if you're doing it standalone, where they can do it remote and record you. And the biggest issue normally for colleges is getting people on site, and XS Training have solved that and could be part of the problem and solution for you as well. We need some guests. Who's coming in with us?
Our first guest coming in, we've got Kevin Sparrow from EAL and Michael Collinge from Flexi-Orb. So in you come, guys.
Right, we've gone big on this one, so just in case you want to get high in the comments, we expect the comments to be flying in as you go. You get a little crown, okay? You can get in the top 3, top 5, and you get recognised by the number of comments, okay? So make sure you get those in. So, Kevin, thank you very much. It's been years since we've seen each other, obviously, in person. We normally see each other on the screen. And Michael, a friend of the show, you've been behind the screen before in Comments Corner, okay? And you've changed your jobs recently as well, but you've got an amazing skill set. Well, let's talk about amazing skill sets first. So we'll start with you, Michael. So what are you going to go down the route of? So tell us all about yourself in 60 seconds.
60 seconds, not long. So I'm Michael Collins, I'm the Technical Director at Flexi-Orb, Renewables scheme. We're UCAS registered to ISO 17067, so we're a scheme owner. And we operate the Flexi-Orb scheme through our certification bodies, our cabs. And myself, time-served electrician, so I did an apprenticeship in the 90s.
We'll find out later.
Oh, I did. I did apprenticeship in the 90s. Did it with my dad. And basically he said, you've come in working for me, you're going to go for a training board. So I did an indentured apprenticeship, AM1, AM2. I've been in the industry now, like I said, 32, 33 years. Various roles. We NAPIT for 19 years, field officer, regional manager, head of training. And I've worked in FE for 26 years now, further education.
You've actually worked longer in these sectors than you've actually physically been alive, young man, when you had all the numbers together.
Exactly. I've had multiple careers.
You have. And you've got...
parallel.
Yes, and you've got a fantastic wealth of knowledge there from the FE sector through NAPIT and obviously where you are now at Flexi-Orb. And we'll come back to who Flexi-Orb are and who their competitor is.
No problem.
But you've got a competitor, haven't you, young man? So you're from EAL. Just remind the people that are a little bit naive who EAL are and yourself as well.
Thank you for having me. EAL are... EMSH Awards Excellence, Achievement and Learning, forgive me. And we are an awarding organisation for qualifications within the sector. We specialise in building services engineering and offer apprenticeship qualifications, inspection and testing, design and verification, numerous qualifications. We've developed, I've been in the qualification sector since 2007, so much experience which looking forward to sharing tonight.
Yeah, and you've also got a rival. Obviously, people will know the other one that's in your sector as well. And we may mention numbers and qualifications across the board as we go. But people have tuned in because they've got a set of requirements, and we're going to work out now what they can do with those requirements moving forward, as we've got some changes that start to come in effectively on the 1st of January, but some of them come in actually on the 1st of October 26, is that correct?
That's correct.
Right. Let's first of all put up some scenarios. These are from real people, so we're going to bring the first one up. So the scenario number 1 is the following. We'll do this and then we'll do some comments, I think, after this, because this will get us all started. So I once taught somebody, okay, a group of people that were going to do a qualification we'll speak to tonight that took them 3 years to get to a standard where they could work in domestic dwellings. However, I had somebody in from a competent person scheme, not the most popular one, it's the most popular one. So, okay, the new most popular one. Okay, so the most popular one came in and said to my group, you only need your regulation course. That's it. And then you can apply to be on our dwelling installer or domestic installer. That's it. Okay, so there it is. There'll be people out there, okay, because 3 people left my classroom and actually did that. Okay, Michael.
So something like that is historic. It's probably someone who's got certified with the competent person scheme under EAS in the 2000s, 2005 onwards. So they will have been certified under Route 5 or Route 6 if they're doing periodic. So Route 5 was initial verification.
Yep.
Route 6 was for your periodics, if you will, for doing the ICRs. And they'll probably add to do a certificate of competence as well. So what they used to do, back then I delivered the NICRC DISQ, which was a course which was developed to sit alongside Part P. And what that certificate of competence was, it was a series of multiple choice assessments and then a practical where they tested it and they certified it in minor works and electrical installation certificate. Yep. So at the time, it was that message was put out, but then it used to get packaged with a DISQ or a certificate of competence.
Are they still an electrician?
Under A1.1 for dwellings, if they've been certified from then, and they've been assessed every year. So when I was at NAPIT, I've done somewhere in the region of 4,500 assessments. So I was a field officer from 2005. My colleague Mark, my regional manager, I took over from Mark as regional manager, and all those assessments, that person, if they've been assessed every year, and they've updated the regs to 18th edition.
Well, that'll be the second qualification, Leon, after the 17th. Well done to them.
Then you can say, are they qualified? Well, they're competent to do that job, and they've been assessed year upon year.
So if they were if they got in the scheme,
and they've been assessed,
continuously.
They've been assessed continuously.
That's it.
They've been a member of the scheme year upon year.
Once they're in, you're not kicked out. You're in.
Oh.
So, well, we can see, can't we, where obviously this is going, because we would all argue
they're historic routes, and this is the thing.
We wouldn't say historically that was a great route either, would we?
No, I think the thing to realise, it's a journey of competence. So, what was the case, in 2005 is no longer the case now. So, and these standards will keep rising. So,
That's probably
as we'll see tonight when
Yes.
we talk about the changes in 1st of October to next year. So,
and I think that's probably the first gem you've given out silently there almost, is the fact that they keep changing. So when we set a new minimum requirement,
Yes.
I'd never feel comfortable if there was a little bit more that maybe I could gain, because there's nothing saying in the
Absolutely,
next wave
yeah.
they roll it back again and roll it back again.
absolutely, yeah. So CPD, as we'll probably talk about, is really important within the sector. So we need to keep moving forward. And I think we'll pick that out tonight within what's core competence, what's CPD, and how contractors can engage with that. That's really important.
Let's go back to the word minimum.
Okay.
Minimum technical competence. The terminology has changed.
Yes,
It's
it
now
has, mandated.
Mandatory technical
Yeah.
competence. Minimum technical competence could be seen as like a race to the bottom. What's minimum standard I need to reach?
Yeah.
So the thing is, what we're looking at now is mandatory technical competence. It's not saying anyone's not good at the job, because people are being assessed. But what we're looking at is
You've got to have it.
But the benchmark, the bar's rising.
Yeah, and there's nothing stopping, we don't know this,
Yeah.
there's nothing stopping the bar rising again, and we would put that slide up again in a certain period of time and say, I'm afraid they've looked back at your
Yeah,
qualifications and having the 17th, 18th,
and-
maybe they've got the luxury of a 19th thrown in. They've got a trio of certificates now all of a sudden. We might say that's not enough.
Absolutely, because we're in a post-Grenfell environment.
Yeah.
The Building Safety Act, and this isn't just within the electrical sector. This is across construction. So that's the key thing to bear in mind. So contractors need to engage in CPD, get their core competence, but that benefits them, benefits their installations, professionalises the sector as well. And I think this is what I've heard for many years. People wanted that licence to practice. Well, I think we're not there yet, but what we can do is do that CPD, get the core competence, and take this on as an industry ourselves and move forward, and that's really important.
I would argue that's the first problem. So that was allowed to happen. I was mortified as a trainer at the time. The rest of the class stayed on, did a 3-year qualification, which will get mentioned on the way through here, and we'll see how even that 3-year course could be affected moving forward. But if you're lucky enough, and if you want to use the word lucky enough, to have got into a scheme just with a relevant regs course, which you've updated every year, maybe you've added a few other little bits like a testing course in there, tends to be the one people will add, and we'll look at that again in a minute. If you're in and you haven't jumped out, you're still in.
It's doubtful, just from experience, having done so many assessments and reviewed so many assessments, and I've been involved with the EAS when I was at NAPIT as well, to get in with just the 17th edition.
Yeah.
I'd be doubtful that it actually happened. There'll have been something else with it.
Mark,
Yeah, that's
hope
right.
You're watching tonight, Mark. Love you. I was following your van just the other weekend going down the road. So, yeah, switched on electrical. Mark Ward.
He's
Yeah.
doing all right with his 17, didn't he?
Just to say
above there.
one last point on that, it was an auditable evidence route. So it wasn't just 17th edition, it was lots of other things around that as well. So that's an important point of clarification.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
But we'd all agree, maybe unofficially, that's probably
Absolutely,
not a
yeah.
great way in.
Exactly.
Can I do my one?
Yeah, so we're going to do the comments, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, we've got some comments in, didn't we?
Yeah, so just to set the scene now after the first one, which I think was a bombshell, let's see what our audience have been saying prior to this show going live. Give us some of these then.
Yeah, so Matt Wheeldon, apparently my MVQ3 isn't recognised anymore. 39 years running companies, 50 years as a QS, 7 years as an ECA technical manager, 20 years as a QM, 98.8 on my 18th edition. Well done. MCS qualified, EV qualified, testing qualified, and according to the NIC, I am no longer qualified. Asked them what I needed to do, and the boy at the end of the phone told me I had to go back to college.
We're going to probably disagree with that, I would imagine, I think.
I think so.
And that could be a little bit of out of step somewhere there. So that person, if you're choosing tonight to watch Matt,
Yeah.
you might feel a lot better about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know about Chris, because his T-shirt says he's an electrician, so it must be true. So I would check that against the documentation.
Okay, just bearing that in mind, I did wear a Liverpool shirt when I was a younger lad that said Crown Paint on it. Did that make me a painter and decorator?
I don't think so.
No, okay,
I had
okay.
one that said Roberto Di Matteo, but that didn't make me him.
Yeah.
Shove the money up, making, marketing, NIC, EIC, up your Ronson. Simply pop into B&Q to get your materials and crack on.
Okay.
Well, thanks for that, Billy Nort. But this is the one which I think is interesting, which I think we're going to dive into later. Michael Loftus. So it happened to him 2.5 years ago. And if you're in the comments, Michael, please do fire it up. It cost him £4,400 to retrain. because he's done an electrical engineering qualification. Now, I've seen that pathway. I've seen people come through that engineering pathway and then have to retrain to get the performance and the knowledge, which we're going to dive into. But he's paid a lot of money to then go through the experienced worker route, AM2E. And did he have to? You know, at 12 years as a Sparky, I'm being told I'm no longer qualified. You've got to be chuffed off.
I personally feel that, there's people coming in with various older, different qualifications, but we have standard routes now set out in EAS, and that's really kind of what we pinned competence on. But within the scheme documentation, there's qualifications guide, so that it does recognise older routes and older apprenticeships and things like that. So I think, if people have got these queries, reach out to your competence person scheme and they'll be able to help them. I know certainly NICIC, they've got like a really good web page, they've done emails, webinars and all sorts of things. So
they may have given that gentleman, from what we've got as only his little rant, which is fine. I think he's got probably enough there. There might be a miscommunication by the person on the end of the phone, maybe. Yeah,
there may be something, or
we don't know all the
we
details.
don't exactly. We don't. So the best thing to do is, but certainly if you've got an MVQ level 3, and by what it looks there, it looks like it looks very robust in line with EAS.
You'd be disappointed, I would suggest.
Yes. Well, I'd like to think he'd get through. Yeah.
Right. So that's that. So scenario number 2.
This is my scenario.
This is
my one. This one happened to me.
I went to college and lost it all.
So I've come along to do my 18th. Do you want me to do the voice?
Yeah.
No. So I've come along to do my 18th edition test and inspect course to do electrical work. Is that okay?
Okay. So we hear this a lot, don't we? They think I'll just get a couple of shorter courses. I'll pick up the 18th edition because that will tell me all about the regulations, and then I'll do a test and inspection.
I'll do a test and inspection course because that tells me all about testing and inspecting.
Now, if again, like we did before, if your competent person scheme has taken you on with those two, and you've maybe updated to X, Y, and Z, or CPD or whatever they've asked you to do every year as you've done your assessment, they're still electrician, are they?
Depends on the scope. So the thing is, with an 18th edition alone and an inspection and testing, doesn't matter if what the badge, whether it's EAL, City and Guilds or LCL awards. I've delivered all 3. I've IQA'd all 3. I've worked on the development or reviewing. I worked with Kevin as a technical consultant. I worked with City Guilds technical consultant, looking at quals, making sure they're valid, that kind of thing. And the thing is that person with just the regs. It's a
a little bit more than the other person.
It's non-vocational, and the thing is with inspection and testing that it's broken into 2 areas now. It's initial verification and periodic inspections, and it gets back to your scopes. So myself and my dad, we still got our registration with NAPIT, so it's broke down into different areas: domestic, commercial, industrial.
Yep.
So the domestic's A1.1, commercial industrial A1.2. 2.1 is periodic inspections in dwellings. 2.2 would be domestic, commercial, industrial. Yep. So you're assessed on the areas. So in our assessments, we're assessed on a different area each year to make sure we're getting the range.
Okay, I've got that, but we'll go in. He's got slightly more, or she's got slightly more than the first person.
Yeah.
So if they are registered with a competent person scheme, they're probably still all right.
Well, because I think it is very similar to the old one, because they come through on an older route.
Yes.
So it's the auditable evidence route. So the message is the same. Yes, you might be all right in terms of kind of, moving along, but really you need to, what I would recommend is always try and get that core competence. And if they're already working, as a QS, or, they have the opportunity to do an experienced worker assessment if they hold the necessary, but we can talk a bit about that. But there's routes there for them, for all these people to gain that core competence, and that's basically what I'd recommend.
Yeah, the route for everybody.
Yeah.
So before you're cheering, and hopefully you've got slightly more than the first 2, but if you haven't, you probably are cheering, okay, so in the living room or in the kitchen, what I'm going to say is we're going to talk about all the things at some point you can't do. And those things that you can't do are going to be very restrictive. And of course, if they ever wind it back another stage, I would imagine you'll be gobbled up at that stage and have to do some of the changes. So when we start talking about doing the route where we can take whatever qualifications we've got and try and get it into that experienced worker, and look at that route, that's where you need to tune in and think to yourself, that's not quite as bad as I probably thought it was. And the rumours out there about all the stuff you've got to do, there is a chance that that's going to be less onerous than maybe you think. Okay, so just hold with us. So with those 2 quals, I'll just make it super snappy and easy. I want one-word answers off you both. I've got those qualifications. I'm registered with a competent person scheme, and now I've decided I'm going to dive into EV. Can I do it?
No.
Can I do it?
After the 1st of October 2026, no, you won't be able to do it. And that's one of the key changes in EAS. Sorry, you wanted a short, snappy answer.
No, it's fine. No.
With most of these things, there's not an exact short, snappy answer, but that's the key thing to bear in mind.
So we're going to hear 1st of January, and we're going to hear the 1st of October, and we're going to hear how it all changes. If you're incredibly happy with perhaps just installing circuits in a dwelling that you've installed and tested them, and you think you can get a 25-year career out of it to the end, and you do not allow your competent person scheme to lapse by 1 day, because I'd imagine if it does lapse by 1 day, you're going to be in a world of trouble, and we'll talk about that as well. You're probably all right. Scenario number 3. All right, here we go. Go on, do a voice.
I did my level 2 and level 3 courses at college and then left to start my own electrical business. I'm currently part of a scheme, but will I need anything else to stay in the scheme?
All right, okay. So, so that's a common route. So we've talked for a long time.
Yeah.
Somebody comes in.
And we've got people in the comments who this is their route. So thank you as well for everyone coming in on the comments.
And being honest.
Coming in. And being honest. Yeah, absolutely.
So there is one of my friends in the industry that I only met through social media effectively started out with this route, a level 2 and a level 3, couldn't get any jobs, set up on his own, crashed it, absolutely crashed it, and they're with a competent person scheme. Yeah. Are they okay?
So the thing is, what happens is that if they're already with the competent person scheme, whether it's with NIC, NAPIT, ECA, Select Up in Scotland, whoever they're with, they will have been assessed year upon year on the scopes of work they're doing. As I said, the different scopes. That what will happen on from October 2026 is when they get assessed that that person as the responsible person, and anyone who works for them, they would then have to be checked against the standards to make sure they've got the correct qualification for the scope of work. Yeah.
So if they go back to that, they're just rewiring dwellings, they're only new circuits, all the rest of that's great. But if all of a sudden we're going to go lurch out and do EICRs and perhaps we're doing green technologies or something, we've got a big problem, haven't we? So very narrow, you're okay, but okay is going to change to maybe no or no.
Exactly, yeah, because they're likely going to be do EV charging point installation. Therefore, that's one of the work categories, along with solar PV, energy storage, and also micro wind as well. So if you're doing any of those new work categories from the 1st of October, as Michael said, 2026, you're going to need to hold the correct qualification. And that's really key. But there's a little bit more nuance in that I can go into.
Okay, so I've done my level 2, level 3. I'm in a competent person scheme, and I've gone on to a manufacturer's course to how to install their EV charger. I've probably accumulated a couple of these because I quite like the sandwiches. It's only half a day.
They are nice sandwiches.
Nice sandwiches. So tick those off. I'm surely going to be all right still when I get to the 1st of October.
CPD.
Right.
It's not an RQF qualification. It's not a level qualification. Manufacturer's course, I can't stress enough, are really good. Flexi-Orb that we like manufacturers courses, but they supplement other courses. It's about that product.
RQF.
Regulated Qualification Framework.
There we go. There's another TLA.
Yeah. Do apologise. Sorry.
Please stop. I'm massively dyslexic, and lots of the letters are in all of the acronyms we're going to use. So going back to that, so if you were doing EV, for that level 2, and they were installing, same for the previous 2, you're installing EV chargers, and I get to that 1st of October 26, I haven't got a qualification in EV charging.
Then they can't do that work
That's
category.
Taken from you.
Exactly that. Yeah. So they no longer meet the requirements of the scheme. So
bear in mind that try to interrupt Kevin. Bear in mind that all these installers and members, they're going to have an assessment between now and next October. So they can ask the question to the area engineer, the field officer. They can ask the question and contact the help desk. NAPIT's got a technical outline, NIC's got a technical outline, the web pages when I was looking at the background, although I've done thousands of assessments, I did research for this. The information out there is really good and it's really supportive. They want to help out.
Okay, so we've only used the EV one, so we didn't say every time battery, solar, micro wind generation. They're all in the same category. So if you had any of the others and you haven't got the qualification. Now, I say I want to go and do battery storage or solar PV, having got the qualifications we've just described all the way through. Are they going to say to me that I haven't got enough with the regs course, I haven't got enough with a level 2, level 3, to even start that course, which would be EV, battery, solar, micro wind generation?
Yeah, and this is the important thing, because those qualifications, EV, solar and battery, are Electrician Plus qualifications, which is a trademark via TESP, which basically means you need the core competence before you do the award. So therefore, if you've got somebody, as the case was, they've done a level 2, level 3 electrical diploma.
Yes.
They don't meet the core competence, so therefore they can't go on to do the EV charging award, because they won't meet the entry requirements of the core competence. So what that actually means in practice, you need to get your core competence. So it could be doing an experienced worker assessment or an MVQ diploma, and I can talk a bit about that. But you need to get that first and then do these bolt-on awards.
So you're locked in your position with your competent person scheme, is what we're saying. Yeah. So if I've got a competent person scheme with a certain level of competency, but I hadn't therefore make it the EV one, I hadn't got the EV course, that won't matter. When I get to that point, I'm just going to be snookered. They will dissolve that one off me. Yes, because I don't meet, and then when I try and get that course, I can't get on that course because I've only got a level 2 and level 3.
That's right. So basically, my message is take action now, get enrolled, look at the routes, look, where you sit within that. But the other key thing to bear in mind, it's not just the QS that needs the award. It's actually the people undertaking the work. So it could be employed people, self-employed people, anyone, subcontractors, anyone undertaking that work in the for that firm. So that's something to bear in mind. So that's a real big game changer, I think.
Okay, so because we said QS, my mind just jumps to effectively doing EICR. So we've got somebody in the office who probably never leaves the office, okay, and then they sign off everyone else's pay. Well, they're actually checking it, aren't they? They're checking the results and verifying the fact that what's come to them is good. And I've heard rumours in the past that maybe that person is the one that's got the qualifications, and maybe other people that are doing it might not have enough qualifications. But if you use that as a great example, that's one we're very comfortable with, whatever we're doing work-wise, the QS can't be the only qualified person to carry out periodic inspections.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's retrospective?
So from the 1st of October, so this is exactly right. So the people doing the periodic inspection and testing within the organisation, they're going to need a periodic inspection and testing qualification, which is one, CPD awards. So that will be the QS, who probably have it now, but also the people doing that work as well. So
it's quite a big deal, isn't it? you take like social housing, because you would have a central QS sat within their kind of capital area, and again maybe 10 electricians or even subcontractors going out doing those testing that are going to have those.
Absolutely, yeah, and
as of October.
Exactly, and really this is a whole move about improving the quality of periodic inspection and testing, which I know we all feel is very, very important within people's homes. So there's a lot of work going on with the IET and Electrical Safety First, with awarding organisations and others in looking at how do we improve the quality of PIRs, and I'm sure your viewers would very much welcome that as well. So yeah, if that particular qualification isn't Electrician Plus currently, though. Right,
okay, so let's roll that back. And I work for myself. I've got a level 2, level 3, and I'm obviously been allowed to do periodic inspections, and then obviously change consumer units and all the rest of it in dwellings, say, for instance. And I haven't got that course. Will they take that? Will they ride that one back off me? Will I lose that?
So by October the 1st, 2026, the applicant, the person or persons who are being assessed, will need to meet them requirements.
Right. So if you so where we said earlier you'd sneaked in and you were all right, you've sneaked in and you're all right on new circuits only. But if you do an EICR before changing the consumer unit, so you're saying from October the 1st that I'd have to have added the testing course to my quals.
So yeah, if you're doing PIRs, you'll need the PIR qualification,
Yes, to back it up.
and that's it. So it doesn't form part of the Electrician Plus model at the moment, but there is an entry requirement that you must have like a level 3 diploma. So if you've only got 17th edition or 18th edition award or another CPD award, that wouldn't be enough. But we've set out in our qualification materials what the entry requirements are for that. But what we can see is it's all moving. The quality of everything's moving up. So the best thing to do is move with it, take action now. Reach out to your CPS scheme and they can advise.
Our audience has been crying out for years to raise standards.
Yes.
So we'd hope people embrace it. So just to get that right then, if I've got a level 2 and a level 3, that's going to allow me to go on and do the test and inspection course,
yes.
which means that I can therefore add that back into my competent person scheme as long as I've never left.
Yes.
And I'm probably then going to be doing dwelling wirings and EICRs.
Yes.
That's what we're saying,
Yeah.
right? Just to clear it for the people. So,
Yeah.
so if you haven't got it yet, but you're doing it, you're all right still. Just go out and get it. It's not a bad course. It's probably 10 evenings, depends when you do it, or 5 days and all the rest of it. You're going to be able to carry on doing what you are. But what you're not going to be able to do, just to clarify, is any of the microgeneration stuff. So battery.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's all out of range for everyone we've talked about so far.
The other thing with the renewable stuff, you need to have the correct publications. So the AIT Code of Practices, the technologies.
Yeah.
You also need to have, if you're doing PV, you need to have an irradiance meter.
Yeah.
You need to have a clamp meter, that kind of thing. On top of having a function tester.
Yeah.
Okay, can you clarify a need a book and just be a little bit more specific?
So the thing is,
I always say that because Joe then corrects me. Robinson always corrects me.
Typical.
To put that in there for him. So watch it.
right, so the thing is that if you, whatever scope you've applied for,
Yep.
you should have the IET Code of Practice.
Yep. So clarify that to me then.
So the IET Code of Practice would be for energy storage,
Yep.
for solar photovoltaics,
Yes.
and for electric vehicle
And
charging.
what would you recommend to the people that have acquired those?
What do you mean recommend?
What would you recommend? I'm just going to leave the silence out. I said not to leave silence on live streams.
Yeah.
What do you recommend to those people who are showing you those publications?
Make sure they're current.
Oh, I know. Make sure they read them.
Oh, well done.
Gary.
Well, you were in the bit earlier. I don't know.
I picked up on your cue there, Gary. So yeah.
I've got the book. I own the book. I have not read the book, but you only asked me to own it, and I will show you the book. So again, just remember, and I do this in colleges up and down the country, everyone's got an on-site guide in their bag. No one's read it. So when people are asked to get a publication, folks, that is not so you can show them it on a table next to several of the publications
It's
you
not
don't
read,
read.
it's understand it.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
understand, yeah.
Sorry.
We'll
You're
get
owning
that,
it.
come
You're
on.
understanding it. Okay, yeah.
Hey.
So, we'll
Going for
read
it.
it first, and like everyone, you probably don't understand it fully on the first read. Maybe you'll have to read it more than once. So just go. So what we've gone through so far is you're locked and loaded, you might be all right, but if you add EICRs on it and you haven't got the qual, you're going to have to go and put it back in. Next scenario, please.
Yeah, let's go. I did a domestic worker course at college and been working in industry for 5 years. Can I still get on a scheme?
Right. I know.
She looks like a domestic worker.
Right, this is one for me, really. This is a heartfelt one to the people that I taught for many years. So I loved an awarding body called EAL back in my day, and they did a lovely course. I'm going to read the course title to you. It's a level 3 certificate in installing, testing, and ensuring compliance of electrical installations in dwellings. Okay, we used to call it the Part P course, which it wasn't because that's like a 10-minute course. My students would have to do a level 2 electrical qualification to enter the level 3, and that level 3 course took a minimum of 2 years, had site visits and a massive portfolio, and it was an incredible course you offered.
Yeah.
And my learners left me and went out there and registered with NAPIT and the NIC. And their feedback to me was, which was lovely, I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back as I've been nominated for International Trades Personality of the Year 2025. The results will be out on the 11th of December. We don't like to talk about
been
it.
mentioned.
We don't like to talk about it. I just don't like to talk about it. So they go out there and they used to say to me, Gary, your assessment was harder than theirs because I was there for 8 hours for each of my assessments and I was on them the whole time, yeah? Now, as I look down here, I can see the qualification appears
Yeah.
in the dwelling aspects. I've got a lot of people own my phone number for 30 years, and for 15 of them, we probably did this course. For nearly every year it was available. If I've registered as
Yeah.
this person on the description, and I'm out there as a dwelling installer under the minimum requirement for both EAL and, a minimum requirement for NIC and NAPIT, am I all right?
Yeah, because that's an older route. So
Historic qualification.
you're going through, it's, older routes, but new applicants from the January, that qualification's no longer accepted. So.
Right, I'm soaking up a bit of glory there. So if some of my learners have jumped out the industry, maybe they've gone back in and think to themselves, okay, it's like everything, I've got that qualification locked and loaded, I've been a dwelling installer, maybe I dropped out because of X, Y and Z. I know a couple of people I rang today, they're still in the industry, but they're not working for themselves, they're not registered. After the 1st of January, if they go back with a qualification that works today, it won't work on the 1st of January, will it?
Yeah, exactly that, because the requirements have changed.
To be treated in historic qualification. So you can only, qualifications are subjective, you can only do the qualification that's there at the time.
Yeah.
So the EL and the Sitting Hills 2397 have been retired for a while. That's right, Kevin, isn't it? They've gone. The LCL Awards version is still live.
Right.
I wrote that many years ago with a friend of mine, Phil.
Did you read
Williams.
it?
Did I read it? It took years to write.
Oh, okay, well, just again, you offer books out and you forgot to read them, according to you earlier on.
From Burnley, come on.
Understanding. so that's great. I thought that qualification was amazing. Three years graft, and I would put my hand on anyone and say they are able to install in dwellings. Not everyone passed the course. We had about a 40 to 45% pass rate, so 4.5 people out of 10 passed. The half person's always the odd one out. But you're all right if you're in the system again. You're in, you're okay. That historic qualification is great. If you jump out or you happen to get it on the 2nd of January, because your course is only just finished, you can use it to build something else, but it won't get you registered, will it?
So with the LCL Awards version, you've got the Competent Person magazine in front of you there. You see that
it took 30 hours to read it. I'm classing it as my year's CPD.
Yeah. Slow reader, aren't you?
Yeah.
So it's in there about the LCL Awards version, and basically the looking to use it potentially as a route for an experienced worker qualification.
Okay. So we're going to get to that experienced worker.
Yeah, I can talk about that. Yeah.
So all the ones we've done so far, we're in a bit of trouble here. Let's have a look at one more, see what this one is. So we're probably, wow. Yeah. Has he had a stroke? Look at that.
He's been doing electrical work, man and boy, for 40 years. When all this was field and chicken tasted like chicken, why do I need to retrain?
Right, okay, so this links us in nicely. I think this is probably the last of the loop now. So what we've got is people out in industry, we can't use grandfather rights anymore, even though it looks like he's a great-grandfather, the picture that we chose there. So we can't use grandfather rights, but if you've got knowledge and experience, we're not toasted, are we, Kevin?
Absolutely not. So there are routes for everybody. So someone's been in the industry for 40 years, likely experienced worker assessment route is the route for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I've been in the one before, I've done a level 2 and a level 3, can I do the experienced worker route with that one?
Possibly, if you've got at least 5 years working as a competent electrician.
Yeah, which you could have
that's
in your
at
scheme.
least.
You could have it in your scheme, couldn't you?
Absolutely, yeah. So therefore, EWA potentially would be the right route. Because they'll meet the prerequisite qualification holding a level 2 because they need a level 2 qualification to go on to that. Yeah. Or they could do an MVQ.
Okay, so just go back again to Mark Ward, which I think was my early YouTube channel. He's got some videos, a lovely guy. So he went, and let's say we go back to the person who's just got a regs course. Regs course is a level 3 or 4, the regs?
Level 3.
Level 3, so you said you needed a level 2 as a minimum to do the experienced worker route. If I've got that regs course, been enrolled for 6 or 7 years with the common person?
No, that won't be because the regs course is a level 3 award. It doesn't contain science and principles and the fundamental aspects of electrical theory.
Right.
Because obviously the regs is just covering BS 7671, so it doesn't really cover the kind of underpinning knowledge needed for EWA.
So anyone who's gone to college and got a minimum of a level 2, they're probably in a good place if they've got some experience over more than 5 years.
Yeah, the level 2 has got to be in the subject area, though. It can't be a level 2 in
absolutely, yeah. It's
level 2. Like,
Sorry there, folks, I didn't clarify that. It can't be in hairdressing. Yeah,
well, it could be. But the level 2 is in the subject area. So when we previous role at Burnley College, that we had learners coming with a level 2 in engineering.
Right.
It's not the subject area. It's electrical engineering. They're a good qualification, but it's not the correct subject area. It needs to be a level 2 in.
Yeah,
okay.
And there is a list of qualifications. So if you go on the TEST website, you can actually see a list of qualifications that are accepted.
So can I jump on this? Because actually this is relevant. And comment we've had in from Tom Savage, and he says that I've been working as an electrician's mate for 16 years. I have 18th edition, just passed my level 2 2365. Well done. I'm going to, am I going to have problems at the end of my educational journey? What's Tom Savage's pathway?
So basically, what I'd recommend is they need to do a skill scan to make sure. So they're saying they've done 16 years experience, but what's that experience in? Is it just passing tools or
electrician's mate? So let's assume he's containment.
I'm sure there's loads.
Chasing cables in there and with all sorts of different.
So I think on the surface, there's definitely a route there. They seem on the surface very prime for an experienced worker, but they need to do the skill scan. So that will be done at the college. So they'll go through, talk to them and assess what they've done. They do a self-assessment as well, but likelihood is they'll be good to do the experienced worker assessments.
Right, so what's an experienced worker assessment?
So
I need a level 2 and a skill scan first of all.
Yeah, so
as long as I've got that, I'm now the next door's open to me. That's going to be what, a year at college?
So really it's about assessing your skills practically on site. So they're actually doing the performance units from the apprenticeship qualification, plus inspection and testing and wiring regulations. So they've got a bit of underpinning knowledge through the level 2, but they need to demonstrate their performance evidence, inspection testing, wiring regulations, and of course the AM test at the end.
Of knowledge and performance.
Yeah. We'll come back to that. Just 1 sec. You said to me, once they've passed the things we get, they do effectively a test, don't they? They do. Is it a multi-choice test with things like science and testing and regs in for this?
Well, that's something different. That would apply for people that don't have the level 2. But for this person that does have a level 2, they have enough the prerequisite to go on to experienced worker assessment. That's in this particular example.
Right. So well done for getting a level 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done. Absolutely.
So if you pass that, you're off and running. So that will be effectively building an MVQ, as people will keep calling it?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's 2 instances of performance on site. One of those will be, you'll have one on-site observation as well from an assessor. The others can be remotely viewed and assessed. You'll build that portfolio of evidence, showcasing your work. You do inspection testing, wiring regulations, and the AM2, experienced worker AM2 at the end.
Give me, we're not going to hold you to it, Kevin.
Sure.
Give me a time frame, what you could get that done in.
Well, the maximum time is maximum is 18 months. So you need to do it within an 18-month time frame. Absolutely, because if you're working domestic or even industrial, you're producing evidence all the time. Yeah. And we've all got like phones in our pockets. We can record. We can take photos. It's a very simple process to put together. Sign up with a good training provider, and they'll be able to work with you, explain how to build a portfolio. So it can be done very quickly. Yeah.
That's where Access Training came in for us, because when we spoke to them at a trade show, this is the route we were going to take Rick down. So they spoke to us and they talked about the difference between being assessed on site and being assessed video-wise.
Yes.
And we really like that. The only reason he didn't go down the Access Training route, which we were very strong, was your fault.
Yeah, he met me.
Yes, sorry. Because he met you. So that is the reason we didn't do that. So that was strongly our possibility.
Just an important point, within Wales as well, because we're very England-centric, but within Wales, the experienced worker qualification is going to be funded as well. So MEDA is the body within Wales that does the funding. So there's help there for contractors to be funded to do the experienced worker qualification, which sits in the experienced worker assessment, and there may be pockets of funding and things within England as well.
So I'm going to clarify that for people. If you've got time on site, you've got them, what you would have called in the old days grandfather rights, and you've got at least a level 2 certificate in something electrical, not hair and beauty, and you can do the skills scan, okay?
It depends when they've done it.
Oh.
So from a point of view, well, Kevin's right, what said he's 100% right, but if you've got someone who's done a 2365 and finished it this summer,
Yeah.
would be slightly different to someone who did a 2365 5 years ago.
Because you need the experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no,
you need
so
that experience, yeah.
You've got the experience,
Yeah.
you've got a level 2 qualification, if you've got a level 3 as well, well done, and then you pass the skills scan and everything's great, and then you can go on effectively and build a version of an MBQ
Yes.
and do AM2.
AM2 experienced worker.
AM2E.
AM2E, that's
Very much
it.
for
Yeah,
correcting me,
thank
AM2
you.
for experienced worker.
Yes,
and
exactly,
they do an
yeah.
AM2ED, experienced domestic as well?
Yeah, that's right. So there is a dwellings version of the experienced worker as well. So those people who are just carrying out work in dwellings,
Yep.
they can do that particular experienced worker as well. So I think that requires 3 years, I think, of competent working as well. So so it just helps these people.
Yeah.
So if you've got, for example, someone who's been doing it 16 years, wiring dwellings, that just gives them that route to become competent, get that core competence, and then do the bolt-on awards as we were talking about previously.
And it's post-training as well. So your time starts when your qualifications been issued.
Yep.
Your time starts from then.
Okay, brilliant. So you mentioned 2 different things. Mention them again to me.
Yeah, performance and knowledge. I've heard that loads while we've been chatting away.
Okay, so explain the difference.
So knowledge is what you learn at college. So where we've spoken about level 2 and level 3,
Yes.
that is the knowledge that you gain by attending college. So if you're an apprentice, you attend college 20% of your time through your apprenticeship. The performance is the practical evidence, the competency that's evidenced that you can carry out the work. So on site, out in the real world. So, and you have to have that balance of both knowledge and performance that makes the core competency.
Yeah, and then you need, with that as well, you need your relevant AM test as well, which is kind of brings it all together. So that's the industry approved through NET that offer that.
20 years on site, zip all qualifications, but everyone says I'm a great spark. Am I done for?
Well, actually, Gary, so there is a route. So EAL, we worked with the Electrotechnical Skills Partnership, or TESP. So we recognise that some people may not even have a level 2, electrical kind of diploma type qualification. Examples were, the first 2 examples we looked at, people who come through on previous routes into becoming a QS. So therefore, EAL, we offer a non-regulated, I call it a qualification, but it's a test, and it's an EWA entry test. So it's an online exam that runs 4 times a year, but it's tightly controlled. So if you want to do that, get in contact with EAL. We can put you in contact with a centre that offers that. I know NIC, EIC is one of the centres that offer it. So effectively it runs 4 times a year. Those learners then can go in, do a test. It's not a course. This is the key thing. It's not a course because it's not a backdoor entry into the industry. Okay. It's a bit like doing your ECS health and safety test. It's what you just go and do the test. You have 1 attempt and a resit, so it's very tightly controlled. You need approval from TESP as well to do it. But once you pass that, it saves you then having to spend, for example, a large sum of money doing a level 2 diploma, and then that enables you to do the onto the EWA.
Yeah, so that comment we had there, £4,400 spent on that qualification, been doing it for absolutely years, but could have come along and done
exactly
your assessment.
It's new.
Exactly, yeah.
But and what we would expect, because this way, I'm just doing a test, but you are having to prove within the scope of that test, not just a tick box exercise. It is a whole proven track record of what would be the scope of.
So the test
knowledge
itself, it covers the kind of synoptically, or the content. It samples the content from the, as you called, knowledge units from the apprenticeship qualification, but with special focus on electrical design. Because if you think about experienced worker, you've got performance units, wiring regulations, and inspection and testing. So working with TESP, we realised that it's kind of the more kind of cable selection, some of the underpinning science, basic VIR, PIV, those sorts of calculations, series and parallel resistor calculations, all that stuff, the basic stuff. But you need to know, and it's quite basic. We don't go. I don't think it covers hysteresis, but it even has. I think there's actually 2 different versions of the test. So the installation and maintenance EWA, it will cover even star and delta. So it's definitely not wishy-washy. These people are going to have to. It's a difficult exam. But it's there, and people are passing it, and and people are failing it. So it's very rigorous. But there's something there for them. So I'll just quickly say we do one in for dwellings, and there's one for installation and maintenance. So that is a test that gives an avenue for depending on which EWA you want to do.
So just a word of warning there, and I'm not trying to be derogative, but if all you've done is install containment for 20 years and maybe haven't got some of those bits like, got deeper understanding of the regs, cable calculations, electrical science and principles, you've just been brilliant at that, you might be thinking, I've got a chance here, but I don't. With 2 attempts, you're probably a difficult ask.
The thing is, even if you've just been doing containment for 20 years, you wouldn't meet the requirements of the skill scan, because the whole skill scan of EWA is about depth and breadth of experience, and this is it. If you've just been doing mechanical things and not really doing wiring and those sorts of things, the rewiring factories or whatever it might be, then you're not going to meet the requirements of the skill scan.
But there is a chance. Next slide. So here we go. So next one up. Is this my Richter? Oh no, okay. So I did my level 2 and level 3 in the evenings. Well, we've done this one. I did my 18th edition inspection testing course. Is that enough? I think we've cleared this one up, haven't we? You're probably going to be stuck with whatever your competent person scheme says you're qualified to do. However, if for some reason you are carrying out EICRs and you haven't got that required aspect of your test and inspection, then you'll be removed from that the next time you get your competent person scheme and have to do that. But if I had all of that, could I go on and do solar, battery, and all the rest of it, Michael?
So with that, if you Electrician Plus, as Kevin alluded to earlier, you need to meet the requirements for a gold card.
Yeah, which means you need the MVQ.
You need the MVQ and an EPA endpoint assessment, which is your AM2.
Yeah, just for those people who don't, we keep saying MVQ. If you're currently doing an apprenticeship, it used to be the under the framework and now standards. You do the portfolio without ever calling it an MVQ. It's just your on-site stuff. It's only when you're really now self-building that you'll start calling it an MVQ. So don't think to yourself, I've not heard my college even mention MVQ. I'll have to get this at the end. That's when you're building your big booklet of work up and people seeing you on-site. So straight away, again, you can't go on to the new stuff. You're stuck where you were, exactly as we said with everyone else. But you've got even more qualifications. You're still stuck, EV charging, etc. You're going to have to go back and get them. Brilliant. Next one. Next slide. These are getting easier. You're going to say it on me?
So I've got all my renewable courses, got tons of CPD, fully qualified and time served. Then I'm all good, right?
No.
No? You've got to be yes on that one. Even I thought it was going to be yes.
Everything, man.
From a qualification point of view, if you've got all that, and you've met the requirements for Electrician Plus and all that good stuff, you're fine. But as I alluded to earlier on, you need your testers, you need your publications, and read them and understand them.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Imagine that carrot hanging in front of your face.
You need the test equipment which has got to be calibrated. You need the publications for the scope.
So it could be things like a radiance meters for solar.
That's right. Clamp meters,
DC clamp meter.
Earth electrodes.
Earth electrodes. You can use earth electrodes. You can use, depending on what you've got, you could use the earth fault loop impedance test.
Okay.
Or you can use a standard earth electrode tester, or if you've got like an X1, like a current clamp, or whatever.
There are other testers available.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are other testers available, yes, glad they are, yeah.
So they're good. They're good, aren't they? They've got the lot. Yeah. They're good. But you're saying CPD, the right equipment, and understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now this starts sounding like I'm going to start shifting this standards and how good we are, perhaps onto my competent person scheme and who I'm maybe registering my jobs with for micro technologies. So I think we're starting to move. So we've got all the qualifications now. If we want to make this industry better, they've come out of college. Well done, college. They've got all their qualifications. Well done, college. Okay, they've gone out into the real world. They've got some experience. Well done, company. But the only one that can stop tatty work now is effectively competent person schemes and schemes like yourself and your rival. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Good. I agree with that. Good. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
See, tons of CPD, incredible observations of your work and continuing to care. Now, I'll put this word in. Now, be careful how I say this word. It all comes down to, at this stage, ethics.
eFIXX?
I know, that's what people are going to hear. It's our fault. It's not our fault, okay? Ethics. So you could have everything we've described there, and I've trained loads of people like you have to become qualified electricians. What they do the minute they leave the training centre is down to what they want to do in relationship to time.
I can't do anything about that.
Well, we'll come back to your rubbish qualifications you've lost. So that comes down to ethics, and that's where I would say the competent person schemes and our registering bodies that come out to inspect us at any time, they need to pick up the slack now, because if they decide to do an average job, they've fueled an industry that other people would say are doing average work. Because you can't have got through all these stages and now having your competency ongoingly assessed through continued professional development and inspections on site. That's got to be where the blame's, for me personally, that's where the blame, and it shouldn't be blame, that's where competency sits then. It can't keep coming back down the tree because you've got competency at all of these stages. You need to prove competency at the final stage, and that's yearly.
Yeah.
Good. That was my bit.
Yeah.
Got that one in.
I hope you got it in.
You got any more slides?
Yeah.
Here we go.
I'm the QS for a company. Oh, we've kind of done this. I'm a QS for a company, and I'm the only electrician to have my inspect and test qual. We have 10 electricians that submit EICR paperwork to me to sign it off. Is that okay?
Well, the new rules from October 2026 states that the qualifying supervisors should have a periodic qualification, but also their operatives, their staff. So that includes direct employees, it includes subcontractors. That kind of thing.
That's right.
Yeah, that's good. And that's the change that's going to hit most people quickly, that one, because if your company's doing that. Have we got any more slides? Oh dear.
Yeah, so this is kind of in a Yorkshire accent. So you're telling me I've got to do an EV course to fit EV chargers. I'll fit what I like or when I like.
Okay, this comes back to it's just a glorified socket outlet, okay, on the outside of a building, and there's nothing really technical about fitting that. So I am now a fully qualified electrician, which Rick will be when he's finished his course. I'm a fully qualified electrician. Okay, I'm out there doing installs. Yeah, look, he's mugged you off there, son. He has probably mugged you off. He grinned at you as if to say no chance. Okay, fully qualified electrician, AM2. I've completed the standards. I'm happy as Larry.
Yeah.
I'm out there, so surely I can just bang a few EV chargers in.
Well, no, because from the 1st of October, you're going to need to hold the correct award because it is an EAS work category.
Yep.
So that's the key thing. Get on an award. They're quick to do. There's lots of availability nationally. So yeah, just go for it.
And they're applying that retrospectively. So if I was fitting EV chargers and there wasn't an issue, when I get to the 1st of October,
Absolutely.
I will not be doing them.
Correct. Yeah.
You've got to
you would be
notify the
compliant.
DNO that you're doing the job. I mean, the thing is that some people might not notify the DNO. People rob banks, you don't make it right.
Ethics.
It's ethics.
Not eFIXX.
Ethics.
Yeah. Okay, so that's ethics. So yeah, people will say that. Well, I'll just carry on doing it. Well, that's fine. We can't stop that. But our industry has been crying out for years to raise standards, and this is that journey, isn't it? Whether it be one that everyone wants to go on, and people still want to cut corners. Well, we can't stop that.
No.
You know, if they're not going to register a job, no one's going to look at that job, are they? You know, just going to bang it in at the weekend.
Yeah. The only thing I'd point out, Gary, is the fact the Building Safety Act. So therefore, you know, with you not complying with EAS and things like that, you potentially then they're not going to be complying with Building Safety Act and a lot of the competency work within the industry. Also, potentially electricity at work regulations as well. So these are really important things. So,
but if you haven't got eFIXX, you don't care. But yeah, I know what
well,
you're
that's
saying.
it. But you're going to get caught out and unstuck. So,
I think we're all up to date on our screens. Is that correct? Gentlemen, this has been fantastic. We're going to carry this on, but we need a mild break. So there's nothing better than on a Champions League evening, maybe to have a little bit of football as a break. Let's roll the fantasy.
Week 12 is nearly over in the eFIXX Fantasy League, with just Everton versus Man United left to play tonight. It's been another tough one for a lot of managers. The average score so far is only 32 points, after some of the big names, including Erling Haaland, failed to deliver. But while most of us were left staring at red arrows, a few managers took full advantage and climbed the table. Let's get into it. We start with the Marshall Toughlex Team of the Week, which goes to bringing Xerxes back, Kyle Holland. Low ownership players were the difference this week, and Kyle nailed it with 74 points once Anderson's bench points come in. Big returns from Eze, Enzo and Munoz gave him the boost he needed. Smart, bold selections and proof that going against the grain is exactly how you climb the table. Next up, the EV Blocks Defence of the Week goes to more seller, Mark Ronan. His backline racked up a massive 36 points on its own, with Munoz once again making an appearance and Nico Williams adding some serious value. Nottingham Forest seem to be tightening up at the back, and if they keep it up, Nico could become a great bargain pick. Solid stuff, Mark. Now for the Fusebox Flyer of the Week, which goes to Lost Location FC, Joshua Snedden. Joshua soared 73 places up the table, powered by hauls from Eze and Rogers, who will come off the bench to add even more points. That's how you light up your game week. Great picks, great timing, and a massive climb up the ranks. Keep it up, Joshua. More weeks like that, and you'll be shooting up the table faster than a speeding bullet. And no, that's not one of this week's challenge words. Finally, the TIS Transfer of the Week. And sticking with that theme, it's got to be Morgan Rogers. After a rocky start to the season, Villa are finally finding their rhythm, climbing up to 4th in the table as it stands. Rogers looks confident, he's getting minutes, and against Wolves, who still haven't picked up a win all season, he could easily deliver again. Expect a few more green arrows for anyone brave enough to bring him in early. That's the highlights from Game Week 12 in the eFIXX Fantasy League. Huge thanks to our brand partners for backing the fun every week, and don't forget to enter the draw for the NIPEX Tool of the Week. The link's in the description. Until next time, may your captains actually play, may your benches be stacked, and may Leeds continue to disappoint Rick.
A little bit of clarity for you just as quickly as I can. If you're currently with a competent person scheme and recognised at a certain level, the likelihood is you can retain that as long as you don't let it lapse and then go back in with a lesser qualification that's now acceptable. If, however, you're carrying out EICRs and you haven't got the relevant qualification, that one you will have to back and get. However, we're suggesting that all of you should look at trying to upskill, so effectively you can really say then in the truest sense you are an electrician, whether that be in dwellings or in industrial and commercial installations.
I might be paggered because me direct debit bounced for me competent person scheme.
I would never let that happen now, especially with your lost qualifications.
I might be done.
Got some new guests, as you can see, so we're going to change slightly the tone. We're going to see how this is going to affect us moving into these amazing green technology spaces. In order to do that, we've got Jason in with us, and we've got Mark, and we've got Rob. So we're going to start off with just a quick 60 seconds about yourself, Jason.
Sure, hi, and great to be here.
Good.
With such an esteemed person who's up for an award. But not that you've mentioned it many times. No. But yeah, Jason Howlett. I've been founded the Energy Storage Association, a new trade body to support energy storage in all its forms, in all applications. But prior to that, spent many different years in manufacturing of batteries, biogas generation, solar distribution, and then working with other companies like Caterpillar and construction. So been in and around the industry, but really probably about 15 years in various forms of renewable energy in one way or another.
Okay, and yourself, Mark?
Thank you. Yeah, Mark Nelson. I'm the Certification Director for Flexi-Orb. I've been in the industry since 1981 as a 16-year-old. I was one of the last Electricity Board apprentices to go through a 4-year apprenticeship. I've run many businesses through all of that time, and in 2005, I joined NAPIT as one of their first technical assessors. I became the area manager for NAPIT in taking on and supervising technical assessors myself. My colleague Michael, who was on earlier, was one of my inspectors who I trained to eventually replace me. I moved on up through NAPIT to become a technical standards manager when I was headhunted by UCAS to go and join them for 3 years, which I did. And then I bumped into David Lindsay, who is the MD of Flexi-Orb, and he persuaded me to come back into the industry to run the Flexi-Orb scheme and get it over the line to be recognised for 17067. We came onto the scene in 2024, and ever since then we've become a competitor to MCS.
Thank you, you said it. Well done. So what we always need in here, don't we? We need not just one person telling us we've got to go with them. Now, all of a sudden, there's somebody else. So we had it in the early days. We've mentioned the NIC and NAPIT as we've gone through. NAPIT with a new, fresh upstarts coming into it and trying to make a few waves. You're effectively that to MCS, aren't you?
Correct. We made waves with NAPIT. Now we're making waves with MCS.
Oh, God, you've done it twice, haven't you?
I've done it twice.
And so's Michael.
And the key thing about that is because myself and Michael come from industry, and our colleague who runs the heat pump side of things also comes from industry, we have a background of knowledge and understanding. We've got the years of industrial experience behind us. We also know how certification schemes should work. But the key thing here is that we want to be innovative. We want to bring competition to the market to give the installers the choice between MCS and ourselves. And it's all about standards. Like you said, we come in to raise those standards.
Well done. So we need Rob. Now, Rob, apart from doing a little bit of modelling, OK, we know you do a little bit of that guy liner on and all the rest of it. Tell us what you do for a living.
Well, first of all, I'm not going to do the full 60 seconds, but my name's Rob. I'm from NRG Solar. We are new build, domestic and commercial solar installers, operate throughout the Northwest. And yeah, we're here obviously to let you know from the installer side of a point of view how the change is going to affect the installers, how it's already affecting the installers, and what we've got to do to sort of keep abreast of it, really.
And you had to go on our electricians wall today. We're going to have a look at that later.
Yeah. Some upset people seeing that video, I think.
It upset all of us.
Yeah. Now, we got misinformed because obviously you came in as solar, so we thought you were installer background.
Yep.
But you're not. So obviously the race was a new feature to you.
Yes.
However, that means you're probably not on site installing stuff. Let's imagine we walk onto a new build. We know how terrible they are, thrashing in a first fix in a day, thrashing in a second fix in less than a day. You're in there maybe installing the green technology.
Yeah.
Same for you, is it? Just thrash it in and out you go?
No, everybody we put onto site, they've got to be, they've got to hold the relevant accreditations. So what you'll typically find is they'll have a team of first fixers going in, doing the first fix, but when it comes to the renewable technologies, you're not even getting past the gate unless you hold that relevant accreditation. So even the larger companies, they'll have a team of electricians, but independently they'll still have to send in somebody's got that ticket to install the EV charger or the solar, the inverter, or even the air source heat pump as well.
Can the first fix team put any of your infrastructure wiring in so when you get there you're just banging the ends on?
No, again, it's site dependent, but even that's going to be done by an approved, somebody that's got the ticket essentially.
Right, okay. So everyone's clamping down on it now.
Everyone's clamping down on it, yeah. I mean, when you look at the fundamentals of even installing the backboard or the inverter where there's no physical electrical work going on, even that needs to be, installed by a competent person. Essentially, you're not getting past that gate or onto site to do that work unless you've got the ticket.
And I think that's where our industry's been desperate to get to. I think if we use gas safe as a good example, they're working with something highly flammable, allegedly. You can be a plumber, but if you're doing gas, you have to get an extra ticket.
Yes.
We've now got batteries. Okay, so we've got batteries. Are they a potential issue? Should we have more knowledge when we're working with batteries? Is this something that obviously electricians should be aware of it compared to a 13 amp socket outlet?
Absolutely. We're dealing with potentially even high voltage with some of the batteries that we've got there. So I think raising that standard and protecting the industry is really important from our perspective. I think we know we've got an economic climate, a political climate where certain parties are against this technology. And therefore, using safety as one of those potential obstacles. So I think for me, it's really important that we do keep raising the standards, that we do keep understanding the technologies and what we're trying to install, and then protecting that industry, because there are many people who are ready to shout it down. So if we don't look after it, and we're not the custodians of it collectively, and we represent manufacturers and wholesalers and a variety of stakeholders. But if collectively with the electricians we're not trying to raise the product standards, we're not trying to raise the installation standards, then who will? And I think it's really, really important that we do protect our industry.
Raising standards, you're in.
Raising standards. And
I come to you, Flexi-Orb,
Yep.
and I want to register with you. I've heard the other people aren't very good, okay? Yeah, and I come to you. What do I need to do to get into your scheme?
Okay. Ironically, you already covered this in the first part of it, because you're talking about getting the core qualifications under EAS. You're talking about getting the bolt-ons for PV, EV and battery charging. when we designed the scheme, we designed it with exactly that in mind. You've got to be able to demonstrate that you've got a core electrical qualification,
Right.
that you've got the competence and experience to do so. If you can demonstrate that by virtue of having been part of a competent person's scheme, up to date with the latest regulations, or in actual fact meet all the requirements independently as an electrician, you then have to top that up with the core qualifications that my colleagues were talking about earlier in terms of getting out your EV, your battery and your PV qualifications.
So would I, chicken and egg, will I need my PV qualifications before contacting you? Or is it a working towards as I start the process to come on Flexi-Orb?
You need, ideally, to have those in place before you come to us. But it's a journey with us. And the thing is, if you say to us you want to join the scheme, us as Flexi-Orb will work with you to help you to get to that level that you want to get to.
Right.
Okay.
So that's a little bit of holding hands. So again,
Yeah.
if I'm straying into here, I'm obviously a little bit nervous and I know I've got to do a lot more learning, but actually you're going to be the helping hand and not the slap on the side of the face.
When we designed the scheme and we looked at it from the point of view of what does the installer need? Because what the end user needs is an installer that's competent. What the installer needs is understanding how that journey works. So everything through from what they need to be part of the scheme,
Yeah.
all the way through to undertaking the assessment, all of those aspects are supported by our team at Flexi-Orb.
Yeah, and I'll give you a good example. We've got the SunSync inverter behind us here. That looks pretty juicy, and we've got a 50 kilowatt hour stack to go with it.
Yep.
You'd argue that your qualifications from college and knowledge on site doing other electrical work probably don't transition very well to this style of installation, where you'd like to suggest that competency comes from socket switches and a bit of Dali, and all of a sudden we've got a giant inverter and a battery stack, that the knowledge gap is there.
Petrified.
Yeah, well, so am I. Well, I am, because you lost your qualifications somehow. We'll come back to that.
The key thing to remember here is that the technology has advanced so much. I mean, I was in the game 44 years ago, okay, when it was back to just changing from Wilex wood-backed boards to new ones with RCDs. We've moved on so far from there. If you want to stay current with the latest technology, you need to understand how it works. You need to understand how to install it to follow the manufacturer's instructions. The whole of industry, manufacturers, wholesalers, installers, certification schemes, scheme owners need to work together, because it's a one-stop shop. Everybody's got to work together, because this kit's dangerous.
Yeah.
If you don't install it properly, somebody is going to die.
Yeah.
We've had Grenfell. We don't want another one.
Okay, you've fitted some voltage strips in your time. You jumped to RCD. You've been there with them voltage strips. Them big black things on the
I've
wall.
been
They
with
were your fault. Yeah,
ELCBs.
in the
Voltage.
tails, you
Yeah.
had them. You had them.
Correct.
Okay, so we've got all this. The new technology is all getting a little bit, grown up now. I would say in the electrical industry. Finally, folks, I would argue here we've got the beauty of those gas installers, where they said £3,000 for a gas boiler. Everyone is freezing cold, or the school's gas boiler is £12,000. It's just coining in the cash. We should look at this as a fantastic opportunity, which you've probably done. Are you on the air source heat pump journey as well?
Yes, we are, yeah.
Okay, is that because you think it's a good idea, or do you see the fact that, like the rest of the world doesn't quite spot, that we're turning off the gas in the future?
Yeah, turn off the gas in the future as well, but it's a good combination with the solar industry. So great combination to work together. So that's why we've partnered, and we've gone down both avenues essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's all there. All the aspects are there for us. Now, I've chose Flexi-Orb, okay, because if it was like in the early days with NAPIT, okay, and I know you work for them, so you're going to slap me on this, felt a little bit easier to get...
No.
Well, it was.
No, it wasn't easy to get on.
Everyone on NAPIT because they didn't want to do the NIC. So do I come to Flexi-Orb because I don't want to do MCS?
You come to Flexi-Orb because you're looking for an alternative. MCS has its place in the market,
Okay.
and we need it to remain in place, because what it will do is competition drives innovation.
Yep.
Where we are set at is our assessment standards are set to the level where we are going to come on site, we're going to spend time with you looking at how you operate your business,
Yep.
and then we're going to spend anything up to a day on site with you looking at your technical assessment activity. Do you understand the technology that you're installing? Do you work to the IET codes of practice? Our assessment forms are actually on our website, so the installer will know what they're going to face. Every single one of those those installation assessment forms is linked to a clause within the relevant IET codes of practice.
Yeah, all the best people I've ever worked with, and EAL being a classic example, offer support. They're not there to be the 1 year slapped wrist.
No.
They're there to support. You got the supporting mechanism for those installers?
Correct. We have a support system where the installer can come to us and say, look, we want to join the scheme. We have 2 certification bodies that operate the scheme at the moment, Simply Certification and Blue Flame Certification. We will talk to them, we will work with them while they're going through the application process with those 2 bodies and help them to understand what they need to do to be prepared. We're not going to teach them to pass the assessment. What we're going to say, this is what you are going to go through. If you have all of the qualifications, if you are competently installing work and carrying it out to the manufacturer's instructions, to the regulatory requirements and to the requirements of the scheme, the IET codes of practice, you will get through that assessment, but on your own merit.
Good, so, and that's great. And you mentioned manufacturer's instruction. I'll just ask one quick question over here. Did you own a torque screwdriver when you were sparking?
No,
Just a yes or no, you didn't. Okay,
didn't.
so again, yeah, folks, he lost his MVQ. You know, spent hours on it and lost it. Just don't know where it went. Never looked very hard for it either. Couldn't find a torque screwdriver either. These people we don't need in our industry. CPD's been mentioned a lot.
It certainly has.
Okay, so important or not really important?
Absolutely, yeah, and one of the things that we, Mark and I were talking about earlier on today when we first met is that there's so much out there already, and people are doing great things. But how do we validate that training is actually worth it? Because you joked earlier on in the show that you read the manual, therefore, that's 30 hours.
It took me a long time to read it.
Yeah, 30 hours. There you go.
Yeah.
Is that real? Is that valid? So most manufacturers in the industry offer training. The installation training, fault fixing, and advanced. That is CPD.
Right.
So people are already undertaking this. And I think what's really important is that we work with a lot of the suppliers who are part of the ESA, with people like Flexi-Orb, and really say, this is validated CPD, that then people can, with confidence, say, we are continuing to professionally develop ourselves. Because I think it's really important that as technology advances, and I've seen it in the battery world, we're already, the way connectivity is going on and the way commissioning is going on, things are changing all the time, evolving, trying to improve. So if the product's trying to improve all the time, people should be trying to improve all the time that's working with it. So I think we can really work together and really start to try and develop something that actually does benefit and is real. So rather than just ticking the box, say, well, I've read a book, therefore, that's it. Who's working with us then and the suppliers to say, this is accredited?
Yeah, and I'd like to say eFIXX are part of the solution for that, not necessarily at great depth of things. We've got a lot of great CPDs. We're at 50 at the moment. How do you do CPDs in your company?
Yeah, so I mean, on an annual basis, the training matrix is in place for a good reason, to make sure that we're always ahead of the curve in that sense. Once a year, we're always audited as well. So if there is an update, we have to include that with the way that we push forward. So it's just,
Honest answer for the next question?
Yeah.
Have you ever bought a book because you were told to buy a book?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, you're very honest. You said that earlier on. You just described me, didn't you? Yeah. So please stop buying books and notes. CPD then.
Right,
I'll come
absolutely.
to you. So give me it.
The thing with the Flexi-Orb scheme is that CPD forms a crucial part of that. You are expected to keep a CPD log. You're expected to demonstrate that you've maintained that throughout the year. So, like Jason was saying there, in terms of manufacturer training, if you are installing this kit behind us, for example, we would expect you to have a manufacturer's training course for that, and to have lodged that CPD training. That manufacturer's training in itself would be expected to be certificated, so that they've said they've attended that training, they've understood, they've done whatever they need to get through it, and we will work with the Energy Storage Association, with battery manufacturers, with solar PV manufacturers, with inverter manufacturers. We'll work with any of them in order to drive the industry forward. Because our passion is this industry must improve.
Do you send anything out to help me with my CPD? Flexi-Orb sending me anything out if I'm running a company and I'm worried about getting compliance across my team?
We will send out technical bulletins on a regular intervals to tell you what you need to know. When you start working with us to get onto the scheme, we will take you through that thing and say, this is what you need to prepare. CPD is one of them. What have you currently got? Yep. What are you doing? And what do you want to think about doing?
Yeah.
Question in here, Mark, for you, Mark, that you can answer. Berium 24. Flexi-Orb, how will this work as your competitor had the market? You can only sign off the job with them. Is that the case?
No, because at the moment, although we'll leave the bus scheme and the politics out of that because the budget's come out today, but in terms of the solar PV, the battery and EV charging, we are recognised for SEG, that's the Smart Export Guarantee, on the government website as equivalent to MCS.
Okay. And what sets you aside? Go on and give them a small
What
kick.
sets us aside?
So why am I coming
Apart from
to you?
you, obviously.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, the reason that you're going to come to us is quite simple. Our senior leadership team is actually from industry. We understand the pains and the processes that the installers have to go through. We've been there since the very beginning. We are accessible. So if you want to talk to anyone in our organisation or you want to raise a question, if you put in an email or request to have a conversation with us about the scheme, our team are trained to say, right, they'll pick up that phone, they'll answer that call, they'll take that email, they'll look at it, they will go back to that correspondence and say, okay, what is it you want to talk about? They will then direct them to the relevant member of staff. And if that means I or Michael or James, who's on our heat pump team, are one of those best placed to answer that question, then we will talk to them because they are important.
So effectively, you're not a number on a spreadsheet.
No.
You're a valid customer, and you see your input as improving our industry.
I see everything that those installers come to us, because remember, we're collaborative. If they've got ideas that they think can improve the industry, we want to hear them. Because only by listening to what you guys are saying can we make this industry work. You're the ones out there delivering it. You're the ones fitting it for the users to use. Those users want to feel safe in their home. They want quality. You're the guys that can supply that. Working with us will give you that.
Yeah, and so you must be using someone to notify your work. You don't need to name them. What would be your biggest plus and biggest negative for the people that you're notifying through for your technology of solar and battery, etc.?
It is that communication, to be honest, and it can feel sometimes very, isolated and kind of where you're going to go for this answer. There's only so much you can use ChatGPT for, and we hammer that, by the way. But yeah, when you've got one company and it's cornered, very often it becomes like a bit of a public sector body. You've got nowhere to run with it, so it's reassuring to know that you're approachable like that.
Yeah, so that would be because again, when people are locked into, like the old days, the NIC, they were locked into that, and then somebody else comes along, there's lots of things they've put in place under your current scheme that makes it that more awkward to move across to another scheme. Yeah. But you'd see that as something that you'd decide to jump across because you want that additional support and that additional help to make your life easier.
100%. It's that communication, it's that support network, essentially. And I think as a newcomer, you're going to be vying for the business. You're going to offer that additional level of support, I'd say. Yeah.
It's our intention, basically, to... Well, I'm not a quiet person, as you might have gathered. I'm not very shy at coming forward. Our intention is to be disruptive to the point that we need to change this industry. Things have been going wrong for so many years. People have been crying out for standards to change. We're here to achieve that. And what we want to do is work with you guys. We want to work with you people to help you and industry and the whole of the UK to actually lift its game within the renewables market.
Jason?
Yeah, I think and what I see, and beyond the work of the ESA, which I do on a voluntary basis, I do some paid board advisory work for several companies in the space who aren't in the energy storage space, so there's no conflict. But one of the companies I work with is HDM, the wholesaler. And they're already gearing up for this and trying to work them with the manufacturers. So they're installing training facilities in 3 of their branches, one in Wales, one up in Scotland in their new facility, and one near Sheffield. And they're sort of gearing up for just this event. That's sort of working with the suppliers that can come into the facilities, train, develop, so the installers can try and come into a facility that's nearby, then upskill and continually use that opportunity for CPD. So you're already seeing people trying to get ahead and thinking about this and how they can take their part and be part of it and provide the facility free of charge to make it easy for installers. They're all trying to think about this way. So I'm really optimistic that I think, as Mark's touched on and Rob, bringing everybody together here to make this successful. I'm seeing that real intent and that strong will to raise standards because. Yeah, we're critical. We've all seen those poor installations. We've seen the poor practices that go on. So
the easiest photograph in the world to take is a poor job. It's the easiest thing to share, But effectively, as we said earlier, it comes down to ethics.
Absolutely.
Okay, who has installed that wiring system? And maybe we need more electricians to say, well, hang on a minute, if I've come to this installation and the previous electrician has done it, maybe they need to chase them down through the competent person scheme to find out who they are. And actually we start reporting to people, like, rather than reporting it on Instagram, what the bad job is so everyone can comment, actually be part of the solution rather than just, you know, shaming people's work. Actually try and find the person and shame them.
Because guess what? When you shame people, it actually brings the industry down as well. So we should be raising that standard, not going, oh, you did a terrible job, or you did. You know, it's like, okay, how can we make it better? And that's what we've all got to really keep that at the heart of what we're trying to achieve here, making it better.
Yeah. You were on the first coaster for solar, so you were early into it in a slightly different guise, and you're in it now. What's the biggest changes between the first run at it and now this current run, obviously on solar and battery?
It's the uptake now, and it's the responsibility, I think. I think there is a lot more emphasis on the quality this time round, and certainly on the competency. The entry levels from the previous iteration, it's just changed massively. I think there's a lot of responsibility on the installers nowadays, you know. And like you said, it's one thing naming and shaming, but there's just a lot of pressure on the installer now. And again, I think, even if you just look at the simple change in social media and the way that things are reported now, or even just, you know, people are ashamed in that sense. So yeah, big changes just in that scene alone.
Okay, and are you seeing it through other contractors putting a lot of pressure on people to install fast installations, or are you seeing people wanting to do quality installations because of the system that's in place? No,
I mean, I just last week I got 3 customers coming through, and first thing the customer will do is say, Rob, this is the design that we want. I want 16 panels and I want a 3.68 kilowatt inverter. When the reality is they actually need more like a 5 kilowatt inverter, they actually need more panels and they need a bigger system. Yeah. But because of the DNO applications, etc., it's just, let's get it on the roof, let's get the money out of the customer. And it's a shame, really, you know, when you sit down and explain to the customer, hang on a minute, yes, I could do your price match on that, but that's not actually what you want, that's not going to benefit you. So, you know, by giving that right advice to the customer's well informed, they can make the right decision and understand what they're actually purchasing at that point.
Would you help somebody on that? So all of a sudden you've gone out to an installation, you've looked at it and you thought, hang on a minute, you've mugged them right off here with a 3.2 kilowatt hour. That's the words you use, mugged them off. And you're looking at it and you think, actually it's the wrong design. Is there some support there for those people with education?
Yeah. The whole thing about it, like we were saying, like Jason was saying about not shaming them, if an electrician or an installer has done something wrong, and it's not necessarily that they did it wrong, it's just that they didn't understand. So rather than shaming them, shouldn't we be supporting them? Because if we educate them, if we work with them and say, this is what you should have considered, had you thought about this? So that they learn to understand, they will then go forward with a better understanding of what they need to do. They don't necessarily have to be with Flexi-Orb, they can be an installer, they can be with MCS. We should be working together so that those individuals are brought up to speed to understand what they did, what they need to do. And hitting the nail on the head is, when you go to an individual customer, everyone is an individual. Every installation, every house, every premises you go to has a unique solution. So when you go there, the intent is to design and install. Design is about getting the design right. What does that property need? And as Rob alluded to earlier, if you've got a heat pump, the way we're looking at it at the moment, it should be PV, battery, EV, heat pump. They work together. Yes. They are synergist with it, if that's a word. They work in synergy, with each other. If they are designed correctly, you can theoretically take, probably practically as well, an installation that will be almost self-sufficient. So it is drawing energy in, it's supporting the grid, it's exporting, it's making that customer money, but it's driving that fuel poverty right the way down.
Yeah, and again, obviously on the back of a government change and all the rest of it.
Correct.
But when you think of all those, I think about circuit protection as well, and I think of Lewden, one of our sponsors on this. Again, it's understanding the technology that was a simple choice before, a consumer unit and an overcurrent protection device. That's become way more complicated, and people like Lewden can support you. They've got one of the best technical teams out there. And Mr. Peacock, who's in that technical team, is amazing. You can get him on the phone and all the rest of it. And I think everyone's got to work together in this system, haven't they? It's not just the installer knows best, it's the manufacturers of the equipment, straight from effectively notifying a DNO, overcurrent protection, the rest of it. Are you finding yourself now becoming more and more complicated RCD choices on heat pumps and things like that, Rob?
No, not me personally. You
No,
know,
good.
you actually-
Just to remind you, Gary, before I do the race, I have no electrical knowledge. But you're responsible
but I
for your team, though. So effectively, whatever your team's installed, the buck will stop with you. So if we end up in court, the last person in that chain will be yourself. So you finding that with these technologies, how are you keeping your electricians up on the tabs on those type of things?
Yeah, so again, you're right, the book does stop with us. The onus is on us, on me as the business owner, to make sure that they've already got those critical qualifications. Again, we go back to that training matrix whereby, you know, we've got to make sure that whoever's coming in has all the right relevant qualifications. We've done a lot of PQQs lately, whereby even the roofers, I know it's not a roofing program, but even they have to hold, you know, certain accreditations, working at height, harnessing, harness, fall protection, etc. So it really is. And again, back to that reiteration of 2012. It's even health and safety's moved on since there. So yeah, a lot of onus on us as business owners.
Yeah, and we've seen batteries change phenomenally, haven't we? They were inside, they're in the lofts. Yeah, they're inside Rick's loft.
Yep.
Yeah, they're inside Rick's loft. They're in Rick's loft. Look, he's looking over me at Ray. It's like, did you fit them yourself, Rick? You're not qualified Spark. Hopefully you didn't fit them yourself. They're certified. They are certified because you got it in before they changed the rules. Lucky devil. So he can't apply them retrospectively. What do you see the next thing for batteries? Obviously, we've taken them outside. Obviously, we've now come to a cold snap. So I'd imagine people are understanding now thermal constraints of their batteries. Okay, that would be a new topic.
Do you know, it's really interesting, and having been in battery manufacturing before, and people's, and this is one of the, you know, the really interesting things that's not covered by any of these legislations is the end customer. You, at the end of the day, when you've done an installation, you leave a customer behind, and how can they maximise that facility and that system? So I use my own system as an example. Even in cold weather, I'm cycling the battery. It stays warm just on its own through its activity. I'm not leaving it cold. But if you've left it purely to maximise self-generation, and you're in winter, you're not generating much, and therefore there's nothing in the battery. It goes cold, it goes to sleep, and it won't then charge. So the key thing is always to keep it cycling and to keep moving that. But it's interesting, as you alluded to, the PAS 63100, and it's we think that was a great advancement in moving it forward. But what way you can't comply? There's still that massive gap in terms of leaving people behind. So we are still trying to effect change within PAS 63100 as the ESA, because there's houses that are, I refer to as entry-level houses, terrace houses, apartments, flats. What do you do then? Because you can't comply with PAS 63100. So there's still all of these things. Whenever they're introduced, any legislation, it's never going to be perfect. It's an attempt to raise standards. You'll get the unintended consequences of, there's some things we've not thought through in scenarios. So we've always got to be, and that's part of what we do as the ESA, trying to engage and lobby with the regulators and trying to make it fit better and better. That it covers for all, because that's what we want to do, is raise standards that work for everybody.
We have actually sold it. I've got a terraced house, or like you say, on the lower form of accommodation. Yeah, I like that. So I'm one of you. And we managed to install my battery and inverter in my own indoor plant room, which I had recently had a toilet and a basin installed in there, so now it's a multi-purpose downstairs room. So that's a fantastic addition to anyone. Very sterile room as well, folks. Not a lot in there to catch fire, maybe the odd bit of paper. That's the only thing that's going up in there, but we're right. I managed to get a smoke detector in there as well. Qualified yet as a Spark since we've been on the show? You've worked out whether you're a Sparky? Anyone?
Well, the poll, the majority of people say I'm qualified, which is lovely. I think I'll
We'll go with that,
I'll just leave it at that. Thanks, everybody.
You did lose your MVQ. You did leave college.
Well, no, I didn't lose my MVQ.
You did lose your MVQ.
My MVQ got lost, but I'm not.
Let's
not get bogged down
by the truth.
Who's
By
lost
the truth.
any MVQ? Anyway,
so
I did an experienced worker.
But you shouldn't have done.
I shouldn't have done.
Because you were an apprentice.
I was an apprentice.
But you only picked up the knowledge.
I only picked up knowledge. So again, another great comment we had in did 2330, yeah, he didn't do the MVQ, but has been in the industry for 16 years. Go and do an AM2E route, and that'll be it. You'll then have your full core competency. That's what I did. I did that around about 5 years after I finished my 2330.
So you still had to go back. That's the moral
So
of the story.
I had to go back and pay for it, and I was a terrible apprentice.
Let's see if we declined or climbed before we get the times in for your race. Well, let's find out what tools you use first.
Well, it's been a spicy show, but it is that time to find out if our guest climbed or declined. And we've got Rob here from NRG Solar. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, that's right, NRG, yeah.
Okay, so we might have been hoodwinked a little bit here because we all thought you were an electrician.
Definitely not, no. Well, I think the results speak for themselves.
Okay, well, we're going to find that out in a minute, so get your times in.
Yeah.
We're here to find out, though, did you climb or decline?
I just think that climbed.
You climbed?
But the proof's in the pudding, isn't it? Definitely climbed.
You definitely climbed.
Definitely climbed.
So how did you find the tools?
Fantastic. The tools are absolutely fine. It was the workman that was the terrible part of it. But, yeah.
Okay, and did you dropped them a few times, didn't you?
A couple of times.
Yeah.
Once or twice.
Okay. Get your times in. How do you think you did?
Got to do that bit now. Well, get your times in. We don't need a name. Just put your times in and you can win a prize. So if you want to play along and see how quick Rob did a race wall in, you haven't got to put a name in, just got to put a number in. So you've got 60 seconds in order to decide what time Rob did it in. And to tell you his first run was horrific is me not lying. And you were laughing very early over there, young Jason. It was horrific. And at that stage, I had to ask you, were you an installer? And you said, no, I'm not. And I went, oh, we
thought you were an electrician.
Honestly.
We got some bad information from Gordon.
Bad information.
Yeah, so he said, get the guy from the solar company to do it. He's the installer. Yeah, so obviously it's not your first time. That's the one we're going to watch in a few moments. It's actually your quickest time, whether that be your first, second or third run. So historically, we only record the first run. There's usually some funny moments in. We think you might have collected all the isms as we go through this one. But when it comes up in a minute, we're all going to chip in. You've got to defend yourself here, Rob.
I don't think I can.
Yeah, well...
Have a go.
I'll have a go. That's just,
You're going to get rinsed if you don't.
Spend the next 9 minutes burying you, I think. So here we go. Times need to come in, folks. You're just playing along. If your winner will get a chance to ring the lovely Jennifer, okay, on the actual phone itself. So we're going to go straight into the race wall, folks. And here we go. Here we go. So I reckon it's Rob first. Here we go. Is it going to...
It's Rob!
There he is! So straight away, Rob's in with the branded hoodie. I like that. A little bit of crime on the way home as well. So you've got the black hoodie there, hood up. Off you go. A bit confused. Oh, hello, hello. Just gently does it. Here we go then. So we're going to be wiring up first. That's good. Oh, did you get any tips on this? Did you use tape? Did you use tape? No?
I wasn't offered the tape.
You wasn't offered the tape? OK, all right. Well, we thought you were an electrician, so...
Yeah, we thought you could do it properly.
It was only at this stage we realised that maybe you fold it over a bit more. Nothing better than getting the end even better. If it doesn't go in the first hole, it doesn't generally go out the top hole, which is some distance from the first hole. So what we're going to do now, we're going to cut it off. We always like a set of teeth. If anyone's a real professional, they go in with their teeth and have a little munch on the actual cable. It says Ricky's laughing away. So what we're going to go? Going up again. Here we go. This is attempt number 4. Here we go. Oh, yes. Look at that. It's like it was made to go up that hole. So, again, you're not the tallest chap that's ever taken this on, Rob. So how tall are you?
5'8.5" on a good day.
Oh, 8.5. I like to be...
It's always the half, isn't it? It's always the half.
Half inch, yeah.
Cuban heel on those trainers. You've seen it all, folks. Yeah, little Cuban. So we didn't bother with the neutral this time round. OK, so you're laughing, which is always good. So tools. How did you find the tools? You used the side cutter method, I think, for stripping the ends, did you not? Yes. When you found them? OK, what are we doing here? It's like a crime scene, isn't it? We're just going to pack it down, young man, see what you got on you. What were you looking for?
I think everything.
All right, OK. So here we go. So RCBO going first. You're in with the neutral. Back out with the neutral. Not a good start. Oh, we got a Ramo. Lovely, lovely. Full Ramo. I haven't had one of them for a while, but you are 5'8.5", so that was good.
Yeah, but the box is at 6 foot.
Yes, now you're at normal height. Rick's at your height now, so we're in for the line conductor. Oh, look at that, eh? First time in your life. Look at you towering above the consumer unit. I'm loving it. So,
little bit.
There we go. So, sidecars, that's not the normal route, is it, when you're actually a non-electrician? You seem to do that quite well. You ping them ends off easily, Rob? Yeah, well, you're a man of so many words. OK, so remember, people watching this at home, if I stop talking, the TV is quiet. So, go. So that one looks a little bit speeded up to me. This doesn't look like your natural pace.
That's actual speed.
Oh, a sitting Ramo. We've had a sitting Ramo as well. Oh, if we only do the marriage proposal, we'll have the full set and a tube cable. We'll be laughing. Now, full set of hair. So we normally like to inspect your thatch, and yours is fully intact, which is great.
It's a great set of hair.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's better than mine.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's got a few more years less than us on his clock, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Remember. So we've got the sitting Ramo now as we do the socket. Did you find the socket complicated, or did you understand what the conductors were meant to go in which holes?
You know, I smashed that. I really did.
You smashed it. I like it. Okay, brilliant. So no issues whatsoever. Do you find sitting down on site is something you encourage with your electrical team? You'd like to see them on site when you get there. Please make sure they're sitting down when you arrive.
It's where they perform the best work, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you've suggested that it's the only way forward.
It's a comfortable working position, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I always say to my students that you're never going to take your toolbox and a chair on site, so I took them all out of my workshops, just got rid of them all together. Yeah, and when I left, they all reappeared and everyone sits down. 2 screws away from actually completing this. This has not been bad, I would suggest. So dropped a screw but found it really quickly. The speed of hand-eye coordination is incredible.
Excellent.
Yeah, this could be sub 3 minutes, I think. There we go. What do I do now? Oh, yes.
It's got to be 10 seconds in finding the red button, surely.
We'll give a bit of that and it panning around. Right, so we're going to find out your time. Come on, young man. You're. I'm not doing the time. I'm doing this bit over here.
Hey,
so
what?
I'm cameraman. I'm Rick's cameraman.
I can't do an impression of Gordon.
Right, here we go then. So I'm up and sorted. Rob, time-wise, where do you think you are? There's 2 walls, Rob. There's the one directly behind you, which is nice and close to you.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's this really fast wall over here. Which wall do you think you're on, Rob? Now,
I'd love to be on that wall.
yes.
However, I think I'm definitely on this wall.
Okay, all right.
And I'd say I'm somewhere near the top. Bearing in mind I'm not an electrician, as we've already established 4 times. I reckon I'm about 7.5 minutes out.
Are you competitive, Rob?
Well, yes.
Yes, you ooze competitiveness. yes, along with moisturiser. Okay, so which way are we going?
So you want to be on this wall?
I want to be on that wall.
Yeah, you're not. Okay, so I don't think this is actually that bad
For a non-electrician.
a time, you know. So let's not even mess around with it. We're down here.
Oh, that's good. You want to be low on this
Down
one.
here. Okay, so Dan and Mick, Adam, you're faster.
Put it by the side if it's easier today.
And then we're going to put
right, okay.
5 minutes and 24 seconds, Rob Cook. Well done, that's the next one.
I'll take that, yeah. Happy with that.
First effort, 13, 14 minutes, someone told me. Yeah. That's when I come in and ask you what you did for a living. Because it was like, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
we thought we'd be late for the show.
Incredibly so.
Right, it's time to ring Arjen.
So someone's got the right time. Do we know who's got the right time? Can anyone shout out the person that might have got the right time? Test Riggs UK.
Well done, Phil.
He was on the show last time. Okay, brilliant. Phil, what a great guy. So Phil is. So, in order to build those systems. And he builds ones for battery and solar as well that sends out to training establishments. So he's part of the solution, certainly not part of the problem. So on those type of things as well. Have you got any courses you recommend? Any providers of courses? We've got Access Training on at the moment that can help people convert their qualifications across to be full scope. Anything else you recommend for training courses providers?
Well, obviously, we work with EAL, we work with LCL, we work with any of the awarding bodies, City and Guilds. So there's a plethora of them out there. We're always happy to work with more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, if they want to come along, they want to introduce themselves, they want to work with us, give us a call.
Have we got any idea whether Phil's going to ring in tonight? He should be on the blog.
It's on my laptop.
Oh, right, okay. All right, okay. So Phil's on it. We know Phil, friend of the show, so that's not an issue at all. I would like to suggest in almost... The end point here is ethics. Again, the fact that we can have amazing training, which I think most people turn up at a training establishment. Nobody goes, I want to do a lousy job for 8 hours.
No,
okay.
absolutely.
Then we go out and work with electricians, which I think want to pass on knowledge. Okay, and they pass on their knowledge. Then we have our awarding bodies, which will give us our certificates, and then we have our recognised trade bodies that actually underpin everything. Yeah. And if you decide to miss any of those routes and steps out, and that's where the problem lies.
Yeah.
If you're not the sort of person that offers your work up for being assessed at every single part of the road, and you've got the right qualifications, actually you're potentially part of the issues our industry's got, where I think people who have spent 2 hours watching this are probably the sort of people that want to make a better job. Now, if I wanted to find out more about Flexi-Orb, what's your website?
www.flexiorb.com.
Cool, I would have searched that as well. What are the chances it's come up on the screen as well? Training providers as well, we said Access is supporting this one as well. Okay, so whichever awarding body they use, but they've got an innovative way of completing MVQs in order to make it better, especially for those adults retraining. And that's why it was a strong choice for Rick. Rick has gone down the correct route. So Rick has done a level 2 and level 3. So in other words, he collected what with getting his level 2 and his level 3?
His performance and knowledge.
So he got his knowledge from level 2 and level 3, and he's currently working on his performance. And his biggest thing was he couldn't use simulation, so some of the work that we're doing here at the studios wasn't allowed to be used. However, Michael's come along today. He's done a full EV install. He's done 2 EV chargers. He's got a Matty on the end of it. He's tested it. You can't get better evidence than a YouTube video would suggest, obviously. And the guy watching him probably has got a bit of a clue, maybe. Yeah, if I'd have found my portfolio I lost, I'd have been all right, wouldn't I? I would have been able to claim that one, because that old chestnut, you know, when it evaporates, and then you spend 6 years winging it before you had to go back and complete it. Obviously, comes down to us as a great industry. I think we're moving towards. I think they're going to keep upping this. I think they're going to keep taking the bottom steps away and keep moving it forward. We'll have more of a gas model, I think, moving forward. I think we'll have more of that. You know, you've got to be trained. You know,
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, you're a doctor, you're a GP.
Why
I would say, if you're an installer out there, you don't want to be part of the problem, like you were saying. You want to be part of the solution.
Absolutely. So you're a GP, so you do a bit of everything. You have and all of a sudden you've got open heart surgery. You haven't got enough qualifications as a GP to do that. You have to add those in. If we use the same example here, you've got the all-round ability to be an electrician, so you're a GP, and then you want to pick specialists within that field. You've got to go and get those skills, add them to your resume, and be very proud of the fact that you've got the qualifications, and at whatever age you are, you've learned some new skills. I think it's something quite satisfying about going back and getting those, and enjoy CPDs. Again, just enjoy the process of learning new stuff.
To learn.
That's good. We'd like to bring our previous 2 people round, so Michael's going to join us, and so is Kevin. So they're just going to walk round to effectively say goodbye and listen to our song.
Gets in on
Look, he's getting the band out.
Gets in his...
Oh, no,
Kevin had his guns out. This is unbelievable.
Kev had the biggest dad jumper on you've ever seen. He's quickly gone that off. And he's
is M&S cashmere?
We'd like to think that we've added value to you as electricians, and obviously wisened you up about our industry and given you the tools and mechanisms to convert whatever qualifications you got into where you want to go. And you may have sat there all night smug as anything, because finally, if you did the full apprenticeship when you left school or at some point during your working career, you've already got all of the steps that you need to add the new technologies to in order to maximise the amount of money that I reckon we can earn as we go for net zero. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the live stream. Thank you ever so much to everyone. Okay, and we are running out of valuable drinking time, where there is only a limited time on the barley-based beverages, so we're going to play you the exit song and thank our sponsors at the same time beforehand. We'd like to thank the people on the show tonight, but we'd also like to thank Lewden Palazzoli, we'd like to thank SunSync, and we'd like to thank XS Training for supporting this live stream. And hopefully your comments as well have been incredible about pushing us forward for another stream in a similar vein. Thank you ever so much. Play my song.
Bye. You've done the work, you've paid your dues, but now the game is changing rules. Years on site still not enough. Paper trails and tests get tough. Experience won't stand alone. Not when the regs have changed the tone. From sign-off rights to scope and grade, you need to know what moves are made. Solar, battery too, they've all got new demands for you. QS or solo, big firm or small, the standards now apply to all. What makes you qualified in 26? It's not just skill, it's how the system ticks. New rules rising, deadlines near, time to act and make it clear. Don't get caught by the shifting tide, go stay ahead, stay certified.